Hi, I'm Yinka, and this is The Hurt Locker, a podcast where we open a door into men's mental health. Coming up, you can swig down your emotions there, have a little sip of wine.
I feel like I needed to there, yeah.
And that's the mask we all wear, isn't it?
It's like really dark. It's all like self-deprecating. Just push it down. Yeah.
Push it down. I love your openness, your honesty.
I've been suffering from depression, and you can add anxiety to the list lately.
How does that feel, admitting to it? You're listening to The Hurt Locker, the podcast that opens a door on men's mental health. And for tonight's guest, we have none other than, can I say, Austrian comedian and funny man, Hubert Mayr.
You can definitely
Hubert, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to The Hurt Locker. How are you today?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I'm struggling with how dark it is this early still, I guess.
Yes.
My head in. I need someone to come around, but other than that, yeah, good.
Okay. Like I say, welcome to The Hurt Locker. And we'll, you just threw me then when you said you were struggling with the dark. And I was just wondering, what's it like in Austria at this time of year?
I mean, similar, obviously, with the time it gets dark and everything. But I was just in Austria before New Year's Eve, so over Christmas. And then there was 4 days before I flew back to the UK where I was just cloudless skies and sun. And it was minus degrees, it was below zero, but it was just no wind, just sun. And it was really, really nice. And then I came back when they had that horrific mist. So my flight was 4 hours delayed because of the mist and fog. And then I landed here, and it was like there was a lid on the country for like 4 or 5 days, and I immediately felt like the vitamin D just leave me.
Well, can I ask, whereabouts in the country are you based?
I'm in London.
So you're in London, so it's not as bad as being up north, as it were. It's not as bad.
No, it's more expensive, so that makes up.
Well, yeah. You can keep that one.
Yeah.
So for the benefit of our listeners, give me a small introduction. Who is Hubert Mayr?
Okay. Well, you've already given it away. I'm from Austria. Name's Hubert. I'm 39 years old. I grew up in Austria. At some point in my life, at around 25 years old, decided to move to the UK with a girlfriend at the time. That was going to be a 1-year stint, little adventure. Instead, we broke up, and then I just stayed. And now it's been
your heart.
Well, kind of not really, because it's never 100% mutual, but it was kind of a mutual thing. It just had run its course, but she was the one who pulled the trigger. Yeah, and I decided to stay in the country for a little bit. I just wanted to stay for like 2-3 years, and then I wanted to leave around the time of the referendum, to be honest with you. But that's around the time when I did my first ever open mic, because that was just a thing that I wanted to cross off the list and do some comedy, try it once. And then it went incredibly well. And now I'm still here.
How's it been for you as an Austrian acclimatizing to British way of life? The culture?
Not that hard for me personally. I mean, first of all, the language barrier wasn't really there for me. I don't know what it is in my brain, but English always was like my number one thing in school. I didn't have to study it at all. I just picked it up. So there was no language barrier really, but yeah, there's some things I had to adjust to. I don't want to insult any British people.
No, you're not. Just tell us the way it is.
No, it's just, I love so many things about this country, but that's just other things like, let's say some politics stuff, or even just the workmanship when it comes to like houses and stuff, the quality of the buildings and glazing, and like there's all kinds of like little things that are just like different than what I was used to. But other than that, I found after that breakup, I found a circle of friends pretty quick, and I feel pretty comfortable living in the UK. So it wasn't hard for me. I would imagine if you're from outside of Europe, it would be more difficult. For me, that's a
So
2-hour flight here. It's not that
yeah.
crazy.
So you've acclimatized to Britain in more ways than one. How initially was it for you in terms of the language wasn't difficult? You spoke about the workmanship, etc., and maybe the quality of non-workmanship. But what are the things piqued you, as it were?
That's difficult to say. It's just a lot of little things. I can tell one story. One thing that surprised me early on was when I started my job here in London, my first one. It was basically the same company that I already worked for in Austria, so I knew some people. But they had hired a lot of people in the UK, and they threw like a welcome party at a club in London, and it started at like 7 p.m. With an open bar, or at least a bar tab. And I was like, oh, that's nice, let's go for a couple of drinks. I just walked in and it was immediate mayhem because people just wanted to get shit-faced as quick as possible. They just wanted. They wanted. It seemed like they all wanted to be screaming into a toilet bowl by 10 p.m. Like honestly, like just grabbing like 3-4 drinks at once per person. I was like, okay, that's a slight cultural difference.
Just
yeah. But I always put it down to pubs closing at 11, which I always thought that's like or even earlier post COVID, that people just need to drink quick because they're gonna get kicked out.
I suppose compare them having that foot in both camps of being on mainland Europe, as it were, and then looking at Britain and seeing how it functions and operates. There's going to be some contrast, to say the least.
Yeah. Like if you go out in Spain, for example, they don't really go out till 11 p.m.
Absolutely, it's chilled. It's really chilled, and then when people are out, it's not uncommon to see families.
Yeah.
The children out at 11, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
And it feels a lot more relaxed, etc. So, whistle stop. What was the job that you were doing when you first came here?
So I worked for a subsidiary of Sony, a dying industry at that point already because it was manufacturing of CDs and DVDs. That's what my company did.
Okay.
And Blu-rays.
Okay.
And I worked in like a project management, business development thing, designing. It was quite cool. I worked like mostly with the video games industry, designing like and project managing like packaging for video games. So I stayed in that job for 7 years, but then they finally gave up and were like, no one's buying physical media anymore, so let's just close the shop down. That's basically what happened. But yeah, that's what I did for the first 7 years.
And you must have observed what the trend and all of that. And was comedy a get out for you?
Yeah, I thought it would be. It's not something that I just had in my mind all the time. I started doing comedy when I was at that company still. But it was more, I was talking to a colleague of mine, like we were out 3 days a week at the local pub after work, because that's all we did at that point. And we were always talking about stand-up comedy, both of us big comedy fans. And then at some point we had the drunken idea that we're going to go do an open mic. So we started scouting them and then found one that we wanted to do, and we did it. He gave up after like 4 or 5 gigs, but I stuck with it. And then once I started, like I thought it was just going to be a thing that I tried 2 or 3 times. It wasn't going to be a get out of the rat race thing right at the beginning. It was just like a drunken idea. But then at my second ever gig, I won like best act of the night. There was like a clap off type thing. And I was like, there's something to this. I'm going to stick with it. And then after a year of comedy, I was in the final of the Leicester Square Theatre New Comedian of the Year competition. So after what was really only a few gigs, I got to play in front of like nearly 500 people at Leicester Square Theatre in that final. And I thought, oh, wow. And then I got contacted by an agent immediately afterwards. And that never panned out. But at that point, I genuinely thought, all right, this is it. I'm going to be a comedian. And I was ready to just not have a day job and just become a full-time comedian. And now, about 6 years later, I'm still not a full-time comedian.
You're still not a full-time comedian?
No, it just doesn't pay the London bills enough, so I still have a day job now.
Okay. But comedy, I mean, I don't usually do a little bit of Googling research and all that, but your type of comedy is kind of quirky, if you don't mind me saying, observational.
Yeah.
Comparing and contrasting.
Yeah.
Observational, everyday experiences.
I mean, obviously, I don't object to you saying that, but I wouldn't. I don't know. Yeah, there's definitely some observational humor that I do, but I've become self-conscious that almost every other joke of mine ends in some sort of suicide punchline. It's like really dark. It's all like self-deprecating, but aimed at myself, but it can get quite dark.
Tell me more about that. You've observed that. We've interviewed quite a few comedians.
Yeah, I know. I listened
on
to
the Hurt Locker, and I get this feeling that it's kind of a lonely, isolating existence, and that there's something about wanting to entertain, wanting to make people laugh. Can people see the world from my perspective?
Yeah.
And is the humor in that?
It can definitely be a lonely existence. It's a bit weird. I mean, I have to go back again to when I started. My life completely changed after I started doing comedy. I left that company eventually, and with it, almost that circle of friends I had, because they were all co-workers. And I just started hanging out with comedians, like, exclusively. So I just found a whole new social circle that I felt really comfortable in, because, like, we're all comedians, so we're kind of in the same boat. But it's also not exactly a healthy environment most times.
In what way?
There's a lot of drugs and alcohol and partying going on, especially when you start out and, like, you find a clique and, like, stuff like that. And then also, it's not, I mean, you know all the stories of, like, comedians getting outed as sex pests and stuff like that. There's always shit like that going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, so all I can say is, like, basically all my friends still to this day are comedians. But then also, when you become a little bit more successful and you start doing more serious gigs, and especially you start gigging all over the country, then there's not much social life anymore, hanging out with your comedian friends, because you're all out gigging at night in different cities. So you kind of start only hanging out with the comedians that you're on the bill with that night.
Yeah.
And it feels a bit isolating at times, or isolated.
Are you in a relationship? Do you have a family?
I don't have a family, no. I've been single for ages.
How was that for you?
That was all right. I didn't mind. I didn't mind being single, but yeah, at some point you become so used to it. I felt like you become so used to not having any responsibilities, pretty much, like, not reporting to anybody, right? And just it becomes almost, you become almost too comfortable not doing anything. And that was my whole issue. Like, especially over the last year or so, I mean, I mostly spent my time just, by myself, and that wasn't healthy either. So
how do you strike a balance with all the excesses of one comedian we spoke of as a bit like chasing the dragon, as it were? You have that first hit of applause, and then you constantly seeking it and craving it, and that you try to outdo other comedians as well. How do you strike that balance to not become full of yourself, as it were, to not prove that you're the funniest person in the room, but at the same time?
It's pretty easy to not become full of yourself if you bomb every now and again.
I suppose.
Yeah, so any comedians out there, I would recommend you just think the place up every now and again, just to keep you grounded. But I have, I definitely agree with the chasing the dragon thing. It's this weird up and down with comedy. Like, sometimes you just have like 2 or 3 gigs in a row that just didn't go great or whatever. And I just sometimes feel like, oh, why am I even doing this? Blah, blah. Then I have a gig where I just absolutely storm it, and it's the best time of my life. And that'll keep me afloat for another 2 months.
Yes.
So it's just a constant up and down. But you get used to that, I feel, where to the point where even having a bad gig, it doesn't really hurt. It's more like it becomes funny. when you have
Yes.
when you do a really, really bad room with like 6 people in it and everyone hates every minute of it, it just becomes a funny situation at that point. And that's where you get your fun from.
You spoke about being self-deprecating.
Yeah.
One of the things I've always been intrigued by is how transferable is the humor from one nation to another.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I grew up in listening to English, British, American comedy in the main, but more and more increasingly, I'm seeing comedy from all over the world and comedians. Did you find that challenging coming to the UK to see if people would get your Austrian humor?
This is actually something I've spoken to a lot of comedians about. I didn't find it all that difficult. I was so nervous doing my first ever gig. I wrote for like 2 months to do a 5-minute set, and then the night before I did the gig, I threw out everything I'd written, and I was like, "This is all dog shit. I need to start over." And I wrote a whole new thing. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to talk about where I'm from, and tropes and stereotypes about Austria, basically. And that worked well. And then, like, over a few gigs, I sort of went into a little bit of a darker material, and that worked really well as well. I just found that I seem to have a sense of humor on stage that British people actually like.
Okay.
But I think it's possibly because, British humor is also self-deprecating. It's not all, but it is self-deprecating. It's usually more inward-looking than, let's say American stand-ups, who just seem to collectively go off on external stuff more than themselves.
Who inspires you in terms of the British type of humor? Or who influences you?
Well, my big influences were actually American comedians at the beginning, or at least the people that got me into comedy that I was listening to at the time, or that I was watching. Like Bill Burr was my favorite comedian at the time when I started. But my favorite British comedian is, and I know it's hack to say, but it's Stuart Lee.
I love Stuart Lee.
Yeah, but it's also you can't really say it's self-deprecating, because he plays this character almost like high status on stage. It's a bit different again, but I think he's an absolute genius. And at the moment, obviously, James Acaster is fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. And then, like, just some people I actually even like personally know, like Helen Bauer, I find fantastic. I don't know if you know her.
No, I don't.
You don't? Oh, she's been on Live at the Apollo. I'm doing a bit of promo for Helen here. She's fantastic.
Helen!
Yeah.
Helen.
And my housemate, actually, Alexandra Haddo, she's a fantastic comedian as well. She's a rising star at the moment.
She's a rising star.
I had to like almost reprogram, because I was mostly listening to American comedians. Still, one of my favorite comedians now is Nate Bargatze. He's the biggest thing in America at the moment, sort of.
What's his name again? Nate
Bargatze.
Okay.
I can put that in the chat here.
Nice.
Fully multimedia here. So he's currently, like, he's on everything, like he's on SNL and stuff like that. But discovered him a few years ago, and he's 100% clean, no swearing, and all he does is self-deprecation, and he's absolutely fantastic. So I guess that's the kind of humor I'm into. But then, like, now since I've started doing comedy in the UK, I find British stand-up so much more compelling than American overall.
Can I ask, you allude to being, in terms of your humor, it's quite self-deprecating and it leans towards the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a bit more about that.
Yeah, so that's actually something I wanted to mention about coming from Austria. Like, I've been asked a few times, what is the difference in humor between, like, Germany and Austria? You share a language. Like, what is there anything different? And Austrian humor is very, very dark. Like, I don't know what it is in the, cultural mind or collective mind of Austrians. Maybe also just a former empire that's failed, or I don't know, I don't know what it is, but there's something there, because the biggest comedy films in Austria, where like the biggest comedians had like acting roles, there's one called India, which is my favorite film. Nothing you get on TV is purely comedy. Like, there's always an incredibly sad aspect to it. I don't know what it is. Like that film, for example, is just about these two guys on the road doing like health inspections at restaurants, and they couldn't be more different people, like opposite people. And it's funny. It is funny all the way through. It's also very bleak. And then one of them gets diagnosed with cancer and dies at the end. And I don't know why. I don't know why we can't just make a comedy. It's always dark and it's always depressing. But that seems to be the general sense of humor in Austria. I have no explanation for it, but like in Germany, it's quite different, especially the further north you go.
You're on the Hurt Locker, and we're talking about mental health and that.
Yeah.
Is that something that was discussed openly in Austria itself before you left there? And have you been surprised being in Britain in terms of the take-up or the lack of take-up in terms of talking about mental health?
Well, mental health is being talked about in Britain a lot more than it is in Austria. Like, there's still much more of a stigma in Austria. I think I've literally never had anyone admit to me that they were struggling mentally, like my whole life in Austria. Like, no one does that. No one just says, I'm struggling. And it's so good to be here where there's at least a discussion about it.
Does that shock you?
It doesn't shock me. It's actually, I think, no, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And the fact that nobody in Austria has ever said to you, yeah, I mean,
I'm struggling.
Yeah, I've lost some people, or at least I know some people who committed suicide back in Austria, like a friend's mum, for example, and it's just like never said anything that she was struggling. I think it's not a good thing at all. We're a very closed off country. You're not open with your emotions at all, except anger, maybe. But no, it's and yeah, I think it's actually much better in Britain that it's at least being talked about. I'm not going to talk about whether it's being, tackled or funded, but at least people are talking about it, and I think that's a good thing.
And tell me about yourself. What's in your Hurt Locker?
Yeah, I've got a weird thing. Like, I actually thought back, because I know this is all about mental health. I thought back, the last time I was in a relationship was with another comedian, and I told her at one point, isn't it crazy? I think I might be the only comedian on the circuit without mental health issues. And that was just me being just completely oblivious to my mental health issues. It wasn't that I didn't have any. It's just that I never grew up like thinking about or talking about any of it. Only once I started actually looking at my own patterns of behavior. I mean, I constantly self-medicate and stuff like that. And I just realized I've been suffering from depression over, I don't know, probably the last 5 years, on and off, pretty badly. And that's not even something I would have recognized before people started talking about it in my circle. Yeah, and you can add anxiety to the list lately. Honestly, I don't. Yeah, that's what I've been, and there's nothing that triggers it. It just comes and goes for me personally, and yeah.
How did that feel, admitting to it?
Not great.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't. There's probably something just in me, like ingrained from childhood, that you don't talk about this stuff. So, it's not easy opening up. And I've been to counseling a couple of times, and then I found that infuriating as well.
Tell me why. I'm always intrigued.
I don't know. I genuinely think I just had a therapist that I just didn't get along with. So I only went a few times. Like they were very judgmental, I felt. But then also just the way they were talking to me almost made me angry. It's like, what gives you the right to
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So why didn't you go to a different therapist?
Because that's not what I do, apparently. I was just like, well, fuck therapy then.
Oh.
That's what, honestly, it's not I'm sorry to say it like that, but that's how
No,
my
it's
brain,
okay. No, it's
yeah,
cool.
that's how my brain worked. Obviously that was the wrong reaction. I know that. But I was just like, well, this is not what I was looking for, so I'm not doing this.
How long ago was that? And would you revisit therapy again?
I am actually. I'm actually booked in for a session next week. But that was 5 years ago.
There you go. And a lot of water's passed under the bridge since then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, that is immediately how it works for me. I was just like, well, this is bullshit. I'm gonna go have a drink. You know, that was kind of how I went about it.
Have you ever contemplated suicide?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can probably tell from my stand-up that that's something that's in my head every now and again. But I mean, I use it more as a joke vehicle. But I've definitely had suicidal thoughts, or suicidal ideation, I guess you call it, where I never fully, I wouldn't say I ever fully thought I was going to do it. But there were times where I appreciated the fact that the option was there, if that makes any sense.
It does. Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And
makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I actually just listened, like, before I came on. You had Radu Isaac.
Yes. Yes.
And I just pressed like somewhere in the podcast, and he was talking about suicide being a fact of life, and like people should kill themselves. It just made me laugh.
Listen, a person dies by suicide every 40 seconds.
Yeah,
so it is a fact of life.
It is. I think, I don't know. That's maybe also why I like joking about it. It is a fact of life. I don't know. I mean, mentioning Louis C.K. is never a good thing, but he had this whole
yeah. Go on.
He had this whole bit about how it's great that you can do it, you know? Like you always have an out. If you're like, I have a doctor's appointment, I don't want to go, you know? Oh, you have to go to this doctor's appointment. No, you don't. You can always just kill yourself. It's like almost like a makes life easier type thing.
It makes life easier. Yeah. At that moment, it appears like life is easier.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, for me, I love your openness, your honesty.
Thank you.
I genuinely do. I think part and parcel of this, the Hurt Locker, is about just being authentic, just being real, about the struggles that we as men experience on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. One thing I actually wanted to mention about this whole thing is, like, for me, about me personally, is that one thing I really struggle with, and I have an incredibly addictive personality, I think you would call it.
What does that mean? I hear that a lot. What does that mean?
It's really easy to explain in my case. Any vice I pick up, I'm 100% in immediately.
Yeah. Go hard or go home.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, first time I had a cigarette was actually just when I had turned 16 back in Austria. And I was an absolute avid, like, non-smoker before, because both my parents smoked, and I absolutely hated it. And then I sort of, like, now you're legally allowed to smoke. A friend of mine was like, you have to have one on your 16th birthday, right? So I had one, and I immediately bought a pack, and I loved it. And I was like, I was immediately addicted to smoking. Then I've struggled with drinking too much, with drugs at times, with gambling, even, like anything that's considered a vice. I just immediately dive in 100%. It's crazy. You immediately go 100% at everything. Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable talking about your feelings, your emotions?
No, normally no. I really don't.
Is there a vulnerability
Yeah,
to you?
I think that's definitely it. I already feel like I'm revealing too much about myself on this podcast, and I hope some of my comedian peers don't listen to it. Not that I don't want your numbers to go up, but you know. But no, it just feels vulnerable. You know, you project a certain personality in general, like in in daily life, but also for me, like on stage and just hanging out with people, and you don't want it just feels like shattering that illusion because I'm like this fun-loving guy that people like hanging out with. I like to think, and then that there's actually that there's stuff bubbling underneath feels vulnerable. Yeah.
But we've had that with many a comedian. We can go back to the archetypal Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And even though he was misdiagnosed in neurological condition, I think it was a shock to a lot of people when he did die by suicide.
Yeah, definitely. Deeply troubled man where no one really saw it, I don't think, right?
And that's the mask we all wear, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the mask. So. That's the mask that most men wear.
Yeah.
In terms of not showing their vulnerable side because it's deemed a sign of weakness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would obviously like to change that, but it's really hard to change that, as a society, first of all, but also just for me personally, because like it's just literally just makes me feel icky.
Go on, talk to me about that.
No, it's just what it is. Like
it's nice. I love what when you're using those little examples like icky, etc., because you get them right down into it.
It just does. I don't know. You hang out with a mate, and usually it's just 100% banter, and once it gets serious, it's like, ugh, I don't want to. Can we go back to the banter, please?
Okay, we'll go back to the ickiness in a little bit. Then. Go on. You can swig down your emotions there. Have a little sip of wine.
I feel like I needed to there, yeah. Yeah, that's what I do. Just push it down. Yeah.
Push it down.
Yeah.
When was the last time you cried?
Oh, that wasn't that long ago. It's been happening quite a bit. When was the last time I cried? I just had sort of almost like an anxiety attack that just hit me real hard. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be completely open again. I was out New Year's Eve, and it was a big party, and there were drugs involved, and I believe I was on a calm down.
Yeah,
that probably played into it, but yeah, that was. I don't know what it was. It was generally just like a general feeling of dread. I couldn't sleep. Just kept waking up. Just started crying. God, I can feel icky again. And I couldn't even pinpoint what it was about. It happens at times when I watch certain movies and TV shows, but like that was one that I can't really explain, and that was about a week ago.
Do you obviously you write, but do you ever keep a diary for yourself?
No.
Or a journal?
I barely write down my jokes.
You keep it all inside, don't you?
Exactly.
You keep it all inside.
I don't even write my jokes. I hate.
You don't even want the words to look at you.
No. Look, that looks like admin to me, and I hate admin. I want the.
Listen, I'm in the same boat as you. Any people who know me will know I detest admin with a passion.
Yeah, there you go. Like a channel would feel like a job to me. I can't do it.
Yeah, I get you. What do you enjoy doing apart from drugs, apart from drinking? What do you enjoy for you?
What do I enjoy? Well, I mean, I'm a massive movie nerd. So
come on, talk to me about films.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. It's another comedian is basically my best mate. His name is Jamie Allerton. He even has a film podcast. He's also a Scouser. So I don't know.
What's his name again?
Jamie Allerton. I don't know if you've heard him.
Tim will find
and
him?
he's back in Liverpool now, but he comes down to London quite a bit, and he stays with us here. And he's a much bigger film nerd than I am. But like we just talk films all the time, and we try to hit the cinema every time he's in town. Just anything really. I love films. I love the cinema. I love, like, ideally I would go twice a week.
Wow.
Yeah, like literally everything. I mean, the latest film I've seen was Nosferatu, obviously, but
What did you think of that?
I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I did watch it, but maybe my copy was crap. And let's not speak no more about that.
Yeah, that's that goes really hard in the cinema, I have to say. Like, it's not. I walked out and I was like, well, I mean, there's no surprises in this. I mean, you kind of know the story, but I just loved the cinematography and like the general feeling of dread for like 2 hours in that film.
Yeah,
it's really impressive, and I liked it. Yeah.
Have you watched the Conclave?
No, not yet. That's on my list. I kind of want to see that too.
I would recommend that, definitely.
Oh, and Tim is saying watch Kneecap.
Watch Kneecap? Yeah,
that's still on my list. I haven't watched it actually, but it keeps winning awards, so I have to see it.
Yeah. That's the Irish one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the
Northern Irish hip hop band. Yeah,
Irish language band. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's definitely compelling. I would love to see that. But yeah, that's one thing. I mean, I love films, and I love films and TV shows. That's how I kill time on my own mostly. Other than that, kind of a football fan as well.
Go on, tell me, who do you support?
I support Liverpool in the Premier League, but my actual I knew you'd like that. Oh, unless you were a blue, but I didn't.
No, there's only 2 teams in Liverpool, Liverpool and Liverpool Reserves.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so Liverpool, but like that's sort of like an adopted team because I come from Salzburg in Austria, and Red Bull Salzburg is my local club, and that's how do
you feel about the Red Bull elements of it?
Yeah, not great. Some people fully embraced it, but that was a pretty heavy thing that happened. It's kind of like a similar story to AFC Wimbledon in this country, where the club was bought and renamed, and the colors changed. That's basically what happened in 2005. But I was so not invested in football at the time that I didn't have like so much just like of my heart invested into the previous club tradition that I don't know, like it didn't hit me that hard. So I still support that club. But my mom has 2 season tickets, like one just in case someone's there who wants to go. So every time I'm over, and if there's a home game, I'm going.
Superb. Superb. When are you in Liverpool next? Do you ever come up to Liverpool?
Yeah, a few times a year usually. I don't have any comedy gigs scheduled, but like I said, my best mate lives in Liverpool now, and we usually do like 2 or 3 nights out a year up in Liverpool. I would think that if a certain event happened regarding Liverpool FC, that I would come up to Liverpool around that time.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say it out loud,
No, don't. But
I
think we can meet somewhere if that was to occur. Yes.
Yeah. We have I have a group chat with 2 mates where constantly, like, it's just about Liverpool games. Every time it's like, oh, should we start counting the chickens? It's like, no, there's no chickens yet. Do not count.
There's no chickens. Nothing's getting laid yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So, if your best mate's a Scouser, how have you taken to not only his language, how he speaks, his accent, but his sense of humour?
Oh God, I don't want to gas him up too much here, but he is.
Gas him up! Come on.
He's genuinely one of the most talented comedians I've ever met. One of the quickest people ever. Like he's a fantastic MC, and like he runs a pub quiz here in London like every other week, where it's become a cult thing. Like he gets like 100 people doing their pub quiz every time, just because he turns it into comedy. I love the accent. I love his Scouse accent, and I love the people. I think if I have plans of moving back to Austria, but if I were to remain in this country, I think I would probably move to Liverpool and not stay in London.
Well, you know what? You get more bricks for your pound in Liverpool than in London.
Oh yeah, I know that. I know that. Yeah,
That's for sure.
no, but I love the city.
Yeah.
Like every time I've been there, I had a great time. I love the people.
What's it like being on the Hurt Locker for you today?
It's been nice.
Oh,
I don't
come
know.
on. That sounds icky. Come on.
No, it's been nice. It's like I said, it is icky. Like I have to talking about like my inner workings and feelings. It's not my favorite thing in the world. But no, but I'm enjoying the chat. I just don't know. You know, I don't know if I'm giving you what you want out of me.
I just want you.
Okay, well, yeah, that you're getting that.
I just want you.
Yeah.
You know. Any questions for me?
What is it you do, Yinka? Are you a counselor?
I am a therapist, yes.
Yeah? Oh, you are. Yeah, I thought that.
What made you think that?
Just the way you talk, the way you ask questions.
Most therapists don't ask questions. We're not supposed to ask questions.
Yeah.
Just listen, just nod our heads, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just had a feeling, you know. And you are Liverpool based, yes?
Liverpool based, yeah.
Yeah.
Liverpool based. But part and parcel of this, the Hurt Locker, feeds into an area of work which is around suicide that I like to focus on in terms of training, in terms of supporting those individuals who've been bereaved by suicide.
Yeah.
In terms of the preventative work, working with people who are suicidal.
Yeah.
So I think for me, the Hurt Locker is an extension of trying to normalize people's everyday feelings, people's emotions, people's unwillingness to get icky, as it were, but knowing that ickiness is there and that it follows them around.
I hope that makes it into your vernacular from now on.
It will.
Permanently. But that's great. That's super important work you're doing. I almost feel silly sitting here as a comedian then.
No, you know what? You can't say that. Well, you can say that, but what you do is important as well. You know? Okay, it's funny, I had another comedian on I was talking to, and we were laughing, we were talking about the absurdity of life and all of that, and I didn't mention it then, but I'm mentioning it now. You speak about, you know, life and all its foibles and how we can laugh at ourselves and be self-deprecating. And it reminded me of Viktor Frankl. I don't know if you've ever read about him. Man's Search for Meaning.
No. Are you revealing how dumb I am? Can you?
No, not at all. But not at all. He was a therapist in 1939 in Austria. He was supposed to.
Wait, what was his name?
Viktor Frankl.
Oh, Viktor Frankl.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess I should know his name if he's Austrian too, but you know.
Yeah, and he was supposed to go to America, but because his family didn't have visas and that, he refused to go, and he ended up in a concentration camp.
Yeah.
His wife, pregnant, she died in a concentration camp. His family members, parents died in a concentration camp, and for him, what kept him through, what kept him going was laughter. In spite of all that madness that was going on around them, it was laughter. Yeah,
I mean, it is. I mean, there is such a thing as gallows humor as well. I mean,
yeah. There is. But even just laughter in of itself, it's so important.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
I know so.
Is that, can I ask you, is that why you have a lot of comedians on this podcast?
You know, not necessarily.
Just because we're all a mess.
No, I don't know why. Maybe Tim's the best person to answer that question, but
it's gonna cut.
I think for me, if I'm speaking off the top of my experience, it's the polarity of the human existence that I've noticed with comedians. They face the world they're laughing, and everybody feels good and fuzzy, etc., etc. And yes, on the other side, there's the darkness there, where the light doesn't get in, where there's pain as well. And I suppose that's that, for me,
Yeah.
that epitomizes what life can be like.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Tim's put in the chat, yeah, it is. It's a bit like the tears of a clown.
Plus, a lot of them are good on podcasts. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they got to promote themselves as well.
That helps. That helps too. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you said, when you mentioned earlier the whole chasing the dragon thing, and like
yes,
the high of like a massively good gig.
Yeah.
It's like, that is one of the weirdest moments sometimes I find doing comedy. Let's say I'm playing a big comedy club on a Friday night, and it's absolutely massive, and it's great, and it's like just making 300 people absolutely lose it laughing. And it's the best feeling in the world. And then you're at the bar afterwards, and all these people come up and just tell you how, that was so great, blah blah.
That's your ego being
you get your ego stroked, right?
Yes.
And then it's just like, okay, well, it's time to go home. So I just walk out of that club, and I'm just on the street on my own, going back to a flat share. It's like the biggest, it's the biggest come down you can imagine.
Yeah,
this is quite interesting.
I wouldn't know how to manage that. I wouldn't know how to manage that. I've done a little bit of public speaking, and I've had positive feedback, and I run away from it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe you should do an open mic at some point.
No. No.
Once I started doing
that would be icky. That would be icky.
Oh, that's your icky, okay. Once I started doing comedy, I started recommending it to everyone. Like, I'd just try it once, If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. But I think everyone should try it once. But then maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I would probably run to the hills, me.
I don't know. There's a vibrant scene in Liverpool. You could jump on it.
There is a vibrant scene in Liverpool, and I think there's a lot of funny people. I think Scousers are naturally funny.
Oh yeah,
I definitely do think that, and you can make a joke out of anything.
That's actually something I noticed when I started when I did some gigs in Liverpool. It's like the local Scouse comics come on and they just tell a story for 10 minutes, like they're just talking to their mates in a pub. And it's hilarious. But it's like, I can't do that. I actually have to write my jokes.
No, listen, stay in Liverpool long enough, and there'll be 1,000,001 jokes just flowing all day, every day.
Oh, double act at hot water, us two together. Yeah, there you go. Tim suggested that.
Yeah, Tim can suggest. He's talking about you and him. He's not talking about me. That's definitely not.
He said you two.
Definitely. You've done gigs abroad, etc., Australia.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for you?
Well, like I already said, I'm planning on moving back to Austria. That's going to happen this year. I don't know when. But there's a whole thing for me where you don't have to be in London anymore to do stand-up.
No.
Right. And now I know you've had other comedians on that have gigged all over Europe. It's literally every city has an English-speaking stand-up scene now. I have started doing stand-up in German as well.
Okay.
I had a couple. I literally had like 2 gigs in Germany, and both of them were for TV already. They were like roast battles for Comedy Central Germany, and then for a streaming platform in Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. So from those 2 gigs, I think I earned more money than 3 years of comedy in this country all put together.
Stop it.
Yeah. So I just comedy was one thing that really kept me here in London, aside from like my the center of my life being here, my friends being here. But since COVID, a lot of it has changed. A lot of people have moved away. My circle of friends has sort of like, at least geographically, broken up a little bit. and I've inherited a house in Austria, so it's all coming together, so that I think I'll have more success in comedy moving back, where I have two markets. I have an English-speaking one, I have a German-speaking one. I already have TV credits, and I can always, like, I'm going to be living near Salzburg, and it's there's at least one flight a day to London. There's 3 flights a day to London from that tiny airport, and I can always come back and visit. But I feel like I need to get out. I feel like I've done London now.
Is London a rat race for you?
Yeah, it feels like it now. I used to love it. Like I just noticed a switch in my brain where, let's say 5-6 years ago, I would go back to Austria like in summer for a week or so. And after 3 days, I was like, I need to be back in London right now. I'm bored to tears here. And that switched at some point over the last few months or last couple of years. Now, when I'm back in Austria, I like it here. I kind of want to be back here. So I noticed that in my brain, and there are all these other factors that are just like coming together where I think it makes sense for me to move. And it's a massive step because I've lived in this country for 14 years now. But I feel like it's time.
We had Radu on a few months ago.
Yeah.
Comedian.
Love him.
He was hilarious. Tim, you've got a question from Radu?
Yeah, what was that question? Bet it was a joke of some kind.
No, it was just talking about moving back.
Oh, right, yeah. Tim.
Yeah, I'm just going to get it up the exact words because he said it to me earlier on. But basically it was about, I think along the lines of, he spoke to you about 6 months ago. He said he remembered passing through, you might have been at a gig, and essentially said that you were going to, well, basically what you said, move back to Austria, the housing, quality of life, money and stuff like that. And he said, What's going on about that? You've kind of answered that a little bit. Then he said, as a broader question, what kind of stops us from moving on, taking that big step, maybe making those big decisions when we know it's the right thing to do? I don't know. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do for you, but that was his question.
Oh, I don't know either if it's the right thing to do, but the only thing that's sort of made it a little bit difficult for me to put like a timing on it is that I also have a day job, and I'm kind of like in discussions with them on whether I can still be employed, whatever, which just makes the transition easier. But for about 5 or 6 years, probably longer than that, probably like since 2017, I've been putting it off. I was just like, I'm going to move back to Austria eventually. I never had it in my head that I was going to stay in this country my whole life. And I just kept putting it off and never actually taking any steps towards making the move. But end of last year, my nan died, and her big house is just sitting there empty, that my whole big extended family has massive emotional connections to. That place, that's where the whole family gets together every year.
Okay.
At Christmas, for example, on Christmas Day. And it's sort of like my inheritance, that place, and I do not want to sell it, and I do not want to become a landlord because that's against my religion. And I thought, like, that's fine. I'm just gonna take the step now, and I've told, like, I just told everyone, just to basically hold myself to account. I told everyone. I gave an interview for an Austrian newspaper a couple of months ago, and I even put it in there. So I was like, now it's in the paper. I have to move. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I remember talking to Radu about it, but I didn't have a firm idea yet. I don't know where I saw him. Oh, yeah, in Edinburgh, I think, at the Fringe Festival. That was. Yeah.
We haven't really touched on growing up and all of that, but are you an only child?
No, I have a brother. I have an older brother.
And what's your relationship like?
It's great. We used to. I mean, we're only not even 2 years apart. Like growing up, brothers hate each other, obviously, as kids. Just constantly annoyed with each other and in competition with each other. But we have a great relationship now. And my brother has taken a completely different path to me in life, where I moved away, and I'm still like unmarried and childless at 39. He got married at, I think he was 25, got 2 kids, and built a house next to my parents' house, and he has a great life. He's absolutely, and it's so nice to visit him every time I'm back in Austria, and it's also nice. Like he's visited me in London quite a bit, and yeah, we have a great relationship actually.
It's good. It feels like you taking over your grandmum's house. It's another chapter in your life.
Yeah.
It's a focal point because the entire family comes there. That in of itself, there's a lot of responsibility then, isn't there?
Yes, there is. There is. I honestly, I was always dreading this, like owning that place, because I just didn't want that responsibility, because like everyone has some sort of connection to the place. But I know what to do with it now. That makes everybody happy. So I've formulated a plan. It's all good. And it almost feels like a bit of a blank slate or restart a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is it's a big step. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm dreading it like in equal measure, I think, because it's just such a massive change in life.
Yeah.
And it might all go wrong, and I might just come back here.
Well, no, if you do come back to Blighty, you'll come to Liverpool. And
yeah, I'll come to Liverpool.
Come to Liverpool.
You can sort me out with a ticket. Definitely come.
I'm going to ask you one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the most important person in your life?
Oh, wow.
You can only pick one.
I can only pick one?
Yes.
It's the most important person in my life, and I can only pick one. I think I'm going to have to pick my brother on that, actually.
Your brother?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think so. He's like it's like a constant. He's something stable in my life. And
I felt love when you said that then.
Yeah.
No,
I hope he doesn't listen to this.
Sincerely, why you don't want to? Have you ever told him?
It's fucking icky again.
Have you ever told him that you love them?
No, we don't say that. No, that's not. Oh, that's actually. Oh God, you've opened a whole another can of worms that I probably shouldn't even dive into. But I was in an 8-year relationship with a girl from Austria, the one that I moved here with. I don't think we ever said I love you to each other, because that's not something that comes out of a person speaking German with an Austrian accent's mouth ever. It's just not a thing. Like I said, it's a very closed-off country, and it's hard to imagine. I'm committed to my answer that it's my brother.
Okay, so what if I said to you that you're wrong? What if I said to you that the most important person in your life is you?
Nah, I thought you were going to go there.
Nah, I did go there.
I mean, yeah. Okay. That
How does that feel?
Obviously.
Icky.
Yeah. Yeah, all kinds of icky. I'm like covered in slime. But yes, I think I get it. Unless you want to elaborate on that, please.
No, I think you're the most important person in your life because you're the expert of you.
Yeah.
You know what makes yourself happy. You know what makes yourself sad. And only by attending to your needs, first and foremost, can you be there for other people who are important in your life, such as your brother.
Yeah.
And imagine this. Imagine if you took care of business for yourself, first and foremost. Imagine how much more richer and textured and layered that love and care would be for your brother, for your family members, for your friends, etc.
Yeah, I get it.
I know you get it. It's still icky. It's still icky. We'll leave that one.
You know what's great is that my parents don't really speak English, so I can go off on them. Like, but honestly, I don't know. I'm genuinely glad because, like, my dad, for example, I don't think he would even understand what we're talking about. Like, mental health, that's not a thing in his words.
Yeah.
You're as stoic as possible, and you just plow ahead. That's the general attitude.
Okay, so
Oh shit!
You know you've opened up a can of worms here. You know that for a fact. I'm going to ask you this. When was the last time you put your hands around your father and give him a hug?
That's a good question.
I know. That's why I asked it.
That's really hard to say. I would say it was probably at my nan's funeral because that was his mom. But I'm not even sure we did that. It's more of a handshake situation, probably.
And a clearing of one's throat.
Yeah, we're fine. Let's go for a pint.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you.
When was the last time you hugged your brother?
That probably last time I was there.
Okay. That's a start.
Yeah. At least, I mean, it's probably a goodbye hug when I leave or whatever, or a hello hug when I get there. But yeah, it is a start. Ugh.
It's weird, you know. Separately, if we had a conversation off screen, there's so much more I'd be saying to you because I feel that there's so much love in you.
Ooh. Really?
You know? Yeah, genuinely.
Possibly. We can keep the conversation off screen.
There's no possibly about it. There is genuinely.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if that's true.
Oh, I just feel it.
Okay.
And just your responses.
Look, Yenka, you're the professional.
I don't know about professional. We're all professionals here, you know.
Okay.
We're all professionals here. But Hubert, you've been a brilliant guest today.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Could have probably kept going for another 3 hours.
Without a doubt.
Especially if I just kept opening can of worms.
I think there's a few more sardine cans that we're gonna.
You know what? Let's just do another episode in a year or so. See where we are.
Before the year. You've got to either before you go back to Austria or when you're in Austria. We've got to do another one.
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy to anytime. Honestly, this has been really, really lovely. And I think it's a great thing you're doing. So I was happy to jump on. Sorry, just kept pushing it further away. I was like, let's do this in 3 months. Because I'm so lazy. I was like,
Hubert Mayr, thank you for being our guest on the Hurt Locker.
Been lovely. Thank you.
The Hurt Locker is a safe space for our guests to openly share their mental health experiences. If you have been affected by any of the content in this recording, then please reach out for support. If it is an emergency, dial 999. If you would like to talk to somebody today, then please call the Samaritans on 116 123. Stay safe. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Hurt Locker. Please give us a rating or share with another listener. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Hurt Locker Pod.